Hi ladies, this is Lindsay, and I thought today I would bring you some information about fruits and how to use them better in your business. We are going to talk about some techniques and tips to educate your clients and to help you adjust the clients into that bra so that they have the best experience possible. Let's start with the basics. First and foremost, the top of our breast tissue is our Cooper's tissue. It also is a ligament. That ligament is plastic. We have two types of ligaments in our body. One is elastic, where we can work out and we can make it stronger. The other one is a plastic one, and unfortunately our boob has the plastic one, meaning that once it goes, we cannot do anything to keep it to come back tighter. So let's talk then about our areola and our nipples, because a lot of women actually don't realize that the nipple is just the part that actually protrudes. The areola is the brown part that actually is on our breast tissue. We then have some lymph nodes and some milk ducts in those beautiful boobs of ours that actually are part of some of that breast tissue that's underneath of our arms. That is why it's so essential for us to have our essential body wear and the cup to be wider than most of your bras that you find in the retail market. Let's provide some comic relief and some value for our clients. First and foremost, none of us are weird. We all have a bigger boob than the other. Sometimes when we're right-handed, 90% of the time it is going to be your left boob, the opposite of your dominant hand. For those of you who are left-handed, it may actually be a 50-50. 50% of you have the same side as your dominant bigger boob, and the other 50% of you have the opposite, which is going to be your right boob. The other thing that's very important to understand is that you have sloped shoulders, and sometimes that affects our shoulder straps. Most of the time what I have found is that it's actually opposite of the dominant hand again. Meaning that my left shoulder is actually my slope shoulder. Why? Because that's where I carry my babies and my heavy purses. That is different for everybody, but it may be something that is very evident to your client and helps you to help them understand why they need a set of strappies or a strap. Nice little upsell, right? The other thing is that we have an ergonomic alignment, meaning that our earlobes and our nipples and our hip bones, our pointy hip bones, and then our knees and our big toe should all be aligned when you're standing, balanced on your feet with your hips evenly distributed. That means that when we have our perfect bras that have come from a watermelon up to a cantaloupe, earlobes and nipples straight out. That's a fun little fact for them, and you'll see everyone go, yeah, that's not where my nipples are. Gives you an ability to actually have them then do a fitting. So this is a prosthetic breast, meaning that it is perfectly aligned to where the person should be. That means that the ligament has not stretched, the nipple has not sloped, and therefore it is actually laying in there. Okay, I think this is a right breast tissue. But as you can see, that extra breast tissue is coming back. So that's why it's so important for you to understand how is this going to affect when it gets into the bra, because we want it to nicely set the bottom part of our cup into the bra. That's where our breast tissue should sit. Your wire should be at the very base of the breast tissue, and then that wire should sit outside of the breast tissue. So when you have it here, meaning that wire should sit behind it. So before we go into the fruits, let's talk about expectations. The expectations of how your tissue, the breast tissue, is going to appear, and the comparison between your best friend or another person who has great boobs, in your opinion. I will tell you that I actually have a watermelon. My breast tissue hangs down very much below where it actually is right now in my Abby bra. So when I scoop it up and bring it forward, that means I then become a cantaloupe. So there's lots of times where I've had a conversation with a client and they're comparing their boob, their D cup, to another D cup, when what they don't realize is that the band and the D cup align, right? So if you're a 36D and you're a 40D, totally different D cups. That's what you, as the bra lady, have to make sure that you're sharing with them so that they understand why their breast tissue is going to look different. Same thing with the fruits. So let's talk about watermelons, okay? So watermelons hang low. They actually have more meat, or more density, and they're also sometimes heavy, okay? So that's why it's not gonna work for the Chrissy bra or whatnot, because their breast tissue is super heavy. They can't get that up and over, and they actually are struggling to enjoy that Chrissy bra, that strapless bra. Whereas our Abby bra, you just drop those straps, tuck it in, and it actually gives them enough support that they can then use it as a strapless bra. All right, ladies, so let's do some live discussions with some of our own bra ladies and even a few special guests that we can talk about their breast tissue. So I brought in our best, one of our best, Deb Stone. So Deb, tell me about your boob when you have no bra on. How is it hanging? What does it look like? How does it feel?
Very ugly.
Very ugly.
It's long and heavy, so they are down here and very heavy without a bra
Okay.
on.
All right. Would you say you're more of a watermelon, a banana? What?
Banana, because there's no fullness to them.
No fullness.
With nothing up here.
Okay. So she's lost her Cooper's ligament, as we've talked about before. She's also lost that firmness in that tissue. And I can tell right here that if she started bouncing or whatnot, that would start to actually jiggle, right? But what size do we have you in your core, Abby?
38F.
So a 38F, ladies. So that means that she has a lot of breast tissue here underneath the breast tissue, or under the arm, and she then has that breast tissue that hangs low. So once we actually scoop and swoop and get those boobs up, and her nipples and her earlobes are aligning, that means that she's back up where she needs to be. So look, that's wonderful. What have you learned most about the fruits?
Depending on the fruit is basically what size bra you put them in. Measurement wise, two people may be the same measurements, but they're not going to fit in the same size because of their shape of the
Absolutely.
breast.
Absolutely. So thank you, Deb. Appreciate your help with that.
Thank you.
All right, so we're back with another live example of using our fruits. So you all know our Miss Leah Doyle from Mississippi. So let me ask, what does your boobs do when you have your bra off?
Just, you lose the up, they're a little lower.
And you've got two babies, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So she's a
Right.
young buck compared to all of us. But do you notice that your breast tissue falls underneath your armpits at all?
If you lay flat,
Yes.
they move a little, yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, great. So another example of all of that breast tissue being underneath of our armpits, and then how it's going to bring up. So what size do we have you in the core, Abby?
32F.
A 32F. Okay, great. So what have you learned most about the fruits?
The rounder the better. If they are not as round, we tend to get a fold here or spillage towards the middle. Like you said,
Absolutely.
under the arms. So.
Absolutely. And ladies, that fold and that change in the tissue is exactly what I'm talking about when it comes to how that fruit is going to come up and sit in the cup. So make sure that you have that breast tissue up where it needs to be, and then have them put their shirt back on, because sometimes we get so fixated on the fact that you can see the fold or you can see that extra tissue and you're like, what is it doing? Our molded cup is exactly why that's so important to have on. So put that shirt on, tell them, let's go ahead and look and see what that looks like with your shirt on, and move on. All right, ladies, so this time I brought in one of our models who's here helping the COE with the catalog shoot. So this is Bianca. Thanks for joining us. And she has actually not ever worn one of our bras, and she actually also has the belief that she shouldn't be wearing a wired bra. So we've had a lot of discussions about that this
Yes.
week, haven't we?
Yes.
Good. So I actually wanted to do a fitting with her so that you can actually see how I do this. So first and foremost, Bianca and I've talked. She has the melon that is actually hanging down. She's got a good amount of volume, but she's dropped down less than below her, between your elbow and your armpit, okay? So she's hanging down further than she should be. So I'm gonna touch her, which I've already gotten permission, right? And I'm actually going to scoop her up, and as you can see, her breast tissue is going to move, okay? So we're gonna go ahead and have her put on a bra. We've done a fitting. She's actually a 32E, and I'm going to go ahead, or I'm sorry, a 32F, and I'm gonna go ahead and have her put the bra on. All right, so now that Bianca has put the bra on, let's do some adjustments that's really important for everybody's fruits. So Bianca, I'm gonna have you step next to me here, and I'm actually gonna have you take your opposite hand here and scoop this boob straight up, okay? Great. You're gonna actually pull that breast tissue up while we're pulling that wire up, okay? Because most of us wear our wires way too low, okay? Same thing on this side, Bianca. Awesome. So that way then it brings it up to their natural waistline. It also is sitting right underneath of the breast tissue in that hot spot of the curve. And then you want to just make sure that both sides are back as far as possible. And if you're not comfortable touching the person, go ahead and just have them do this themselves. And then I'm gonna have you turn around. I'm gonna make sure that this is actually even, and then I'm going to adjust the straps as necessary. So turn back around for me. And what this does is it brings her breast tissue up, as you can see. It's parallel around her body, and it's really important that her breast tissue nipple is now halfway between her armpit and her elbow. How does it feel?
Feels pretty good, supportive, very lifted.
Good, good. Absolutely. So I hope this has helped you ladies with some live examples of how to work those fruits. All right, so in conclusion, let's educate our clients. Let's ensure that they understand that their boob is no different than anybody else's boobs. However, nobody's boobs is the same. And so therefore, that is why it's so important to start with the band, get that right, then add the cup, making sure that it's filling those fruits and making sure that they're bringing whatever they are up to a cantaloupe or an orange. That's where we get our 21-year-old perky boobs back. Last but not least, make sure that they understand they look beautiful, and make sure that they also understand they shouldn't compare themselves to each and every other person out there, that their body style and their boobs are exactly perfect for their body.